Hello and welcome to Hippo CMMS. My name is Earl Mina and I work with the Training and Tech Department team with Hippo. Today's Hippo Help webinar is titled From Reactive to Preventative, a look at PMs in Hippo and what they can do for you. Here's a look at today's agenda. We will start with a quick introduction to PMs, then begin our PM tutorial. Topics that will be covered today include how to make a PM, scheduling PMs, finding PMs on your dashboards, and assigning them to your resources. We'll look at how to enter individual PMs and also discuss how to mass import a list of PMs all at once. And at the end of the webinar, there will be a questions and comments period. Here you will be able to answer a very quick survey and also ask any questions of your own. You can also use the bubble icon on your screen anytime to ask a question, and those questions will be answered after the webinar. Before we begin, last thing I will mention is that we do record these webinars and all attendees and registrants will be sent a copy. Feel free to share the recording with anyone within your company. Hippo CMMS provides preventative maintenance software that is easy to use. Scheduling maintenance is key to maximizing the longevity of your facility's equipment and assets. PM software is one of the most important features that a CMMS can offer an organization. Without a scheduled preventative maintenance program, routine equipment checks often go overlooked in certain areas of a facility's operations. This can lead to problems such as production errors, work injuries, and asset damage. Luckily, creating a scheduled work order is a simple process in Hippo and is well detailed to automate the right procedures at the right time. So let's take a look at PMs in Hippo. In Hippo, there are two types of work orders: demand work orders, which are anything unscheduled or unplanned, and PMs, preventative maintenance. PMs are found at the facility level and are associated to a specific facility. At the facility level, PMs are created in facility admin, scheduled work orders. When PMs are generated, you can find them on all the Hippo dashboards. You can find them on the floor plans of the advanced dashboard. You can find them in the tables on the standard dashboard. And you can also find them on the calendar dashboard, where you can view existing PMs, and you can also see upcoming PMs. Now, before we take a closer look at these dashboards and view the PMs, let's begin by learning how to make a PM. So this is the scheduled work orders grid. Let's look at creating a PM for a condensing unit. Whenever you're on a grid, make sure you look for the control buttons located in the top right corner. If you see these buttons, that means you have permission to create a scheduled work order. When I click Add, we'll get an option to create a PM from scratch, or if you own multiple facilities in your enterprise, you may have already created some templates that you can use within each facility. For today, let's look at creating a PM from scratch. Click OK, and this will open up a new data field, one that is empty at the top of my grid. There are a few fields that are mandatory on this grid. These fields are highlighted with a blue background. For example, when you are creating a PM, you need to enter a name, schedule category, type, association, description, and work category. So let's start with name. We recommend naming the PM what needs to be done and when. So if we're making a PM for our condensing unit, we can call this condensing unit inspection. And then it helps to indicate the recurrence of this type of PM. We would call this monthly. Next, we have schedule category, and there are two options. You can pick between a calendar-based PM. This is a PM that generates off a specific date off your calendar, or a meter-based PM, which generates off a specific reading from a piece of equipment. Just for time purposes today, we'll be discussing calendar-based PMs, but if your facility utilizes meter-based PMs, we do have these helpful guides in the support and feedback panel where you can look at how to make a meter-based PM. Your next mandatory column is type. This is what type of association. This is what type of PM you are creating. PMs can be equipment-based, location-based, or vehicle-based. We have our condensing unit entered as a piece of equipment, so I'm going to go ahead and select it as a piece of equipment. Next in the associations field, this is when you select the individual piece of equipment. Because I've selected equipment as type, when I click in the associations drop-down menu, I have a list of all the pieces of equipment within my facility. I've got quite a bit of pieces of equipment here, so instead of scrolling through the list, I'll go ahead and type in the name of my condensing unit. There we go. When you're creating a PM, you can also select more than one piece of equipment as needed. For example, I can pick a couple boilers on the ticket as well. You can select as many as you like. Next, we've got description. Now, description can be the same as name. In some cases, people will enter in their tasks, but you'll see later on that we have a individual task column, which is better suited to write that information. What I'm going to add for description is the same as my name, inspection for condensing unit, and I'm going to write C task list so my maintenance team can follow the right steps to complete this PM. And the last mandatory column is work category. We know that work category is useful when you're running a work order search or if you're running a report. We'll type in HVAC. And that's the last of my mandatory fields. What I'll recommend when you're done entering your mandatory fields, make use of the save icon. Clicking this icon will save the data. If you have to step away from Hippo, you don't lose any valuable information. Notice as I click the save button, the page recategorized the list of my PMs. I can see it here. I've got my condensing units. One thing that you can do to help your data integration or your search faster is make use of the search field. If I type in condensing unit, I'll get only results for my condensing unit. So let's continue along and look at the other columns that are on this grid. Although these columns are not mandatory, they are very important for your success for scheduling and creating your PMs. Subcategory is a more specific type of work category. For example, if my work category was HVAC, I can select a subcategory of condensing units or summer or winter. That'll allow you to run a very specific type of report, not just for the HVAC work category. Next column is schedule. This is a very important column. This is when you determine exactly when the PM is going to generate. If I click once in this field, this is going to open the calendar-based schedule window. I can click the Add button, and I'm presented with a few options to select the schedule for my PM. If my PM is going to generate one time on a specific date, I can use the one-time option. The date that it will generate from is the start date that's listed within this field here. If you're making a daily PM, make use of the daily tab. You can tell Hippo to generate your PM every 1 day, every second, every third day, whatever your needs may be. I can generate a weekly PM by selecting what recurrence of weeks and also what day of the week or days. You can generate or schedule a PM based on season, and you can also schedule a PM on a monthly type of calendar. If you are generating a PM or scheduling PMs on an annual, semi-annual, quarterly basis, you'll also use the monthly tab. For example, if this was annual, I'd use the monthly tab and just pick the single month. Because this is a monthly PM, check mark every single box here, or I can make use of the quick check mark icon and that'll select all of the months. You'll also have to indicate what day of the month you want this PM to generate on. You can be vague and say, let this generate on the first day of the month. Or if you want to be specific, you can indicate, I want this PM to generate on the first, we'll say Monday of the month. Down below, there's an option to get a PM reminder email. This is helpful if you aren't really thinking about your PM. In the case of maybe an annual PM, it does help if you get a notification that your PM is upcoming. I can say, please send me an email 7 days before this PM generates. This will give me enough time to prep for my PM and get any necessary things done. Now, once you've entered in the right information, click validate. Always confirm that the description on the bottom matches the schedule that you want for your PM. If that's correct, let's click OK. This will take you back to your calendar-based schedule window. From here, you can see that I can edit the schedule that I added. I can delete the schedule, and you can also add another schedule. Let's say I want this PM to actually generate for today. I'll click the one time, validate the start date. Generation date actually is going to be today. When I click OK, I've got two schedules, and then my next step is to click OK, and I'll go back to my scheduled work orders grid. Next column we have is days to complete. Days to complete will indicate how many days you have to complete the PM before it becomes overdue. So if my PM is generating today, I've got 14 days to complete the ticket, or I can click in the field and change this to 30 days. This will give me more time to complete my PM and not let it go into an overdue status. Next field is tasks. As mentioned earlier, some users will like to enter their tasks in the description column. The nice thing about entering your tasks in the task column is that it appears as a check. What's nice about entering your task in the task column is that when the PM generates, you'll see it as a step-by-step checklist on that PM. Let's go ahead and add a couple tasks to this PM. I want my maintenance team to follow a specific set of procedures. So I've added 3 tasks. I'm going to go ahead and type in the first task. First task is shutdown valve. Second task is inspect fittings. And then the third task is replace filter. You can reorder the tasks at any time. You can delete a task. And you can also add units if you're measuring something within the task. For example, I could be measuring like inches, level of fluid, RPM, whatever it may be. You can enter that unit, and when it comes to recording that value on the PM, there'll be a space where you can indicate what that recording was. From here, I'll click Save to go back to the scheduled work orders grid. Next, we have resources. So resources are the maintenance technicians of your facility. If you know that there's a specific person to be assigned to this PM each time that it generates, you can be proactive and assign that person to be the technician every time this PM generates. Depending on the type of permissions you set for that user, they may get an email notification that'll allow them to open Hippo on their mobile device or jump right to the computer, open up the PM, and perform the work as needed. Next, we have documents. If you have any documents that you continuously reuse for your PMs, they are uploaded to the panel called Documents. And then when you go to generate or create your PM, in the Documents drop-down menu, you can see the documents that you have added to your documents list. Now, some folks like to also upload their tasks in a documents format, but I do strongly suggest enter your tasks in the task column. This way you can see that information right on the PM, and you don't have to worry about printing out a second document when you're performing that ticket. We've got two type fields, lockout procedures and job hazards. If there's anything that should be done, you can type in this field here. So turn off power. And then job hazards would be something like wear gloves. Next is estimated effort in minutes. This is a very helpful column. This will help you determine how long this job will actually take. Inspecting my condensing unit, I would estimate this to be 60 minutes. Where I will see this is on the ticket as well. When I go to my calendar, I can see a list of PM time, and that'll help me move things forward or backwards as needed. There's also a field for estimated cost. If there is a cost that should be estimated before the work is complete or before the PM generates, this is a type field that you can add as well. Floating, this one is helpful if you have daily PMs. For example, if I have a PM that generates every day, if I do not complete the PM for today, because I have floating on, it will not generate the PM for the next day. So this will help your PMs from piling up in case you aren't closing the PMs. Next is generate multiple. So we learned earlier that you can pick multiple pieces of equipment, multiple associations per PM. If I have generate multiple enabled, this will generate one ticket for each association on this PM. If I have it off, then I'll simply have one ticket with 4 or 5 pieces of equipment or associations on that ticket. Generating multiple will allow you to perform the work on one piece of equipment without having to wait to complete the work on the other piece of equipment that is on the same PM. For those of you who utilize vendors and outsourcing within your facility, we know that you can add those companies and those individual contacts from the company to Hippo. In the company drop-down menu, I'll view any companies that appear in the company's panel. When this PM generates, I can see that this is the company assigned to the job. Or I can also make use of the contacts field. When this PM generates, this contact will actually receive an email from Hippo saying this PM has generated. If I've added, enough information in my description, hopefully my vendor will come down and perform the work for my facility. Now the last two fields are also important. You can see the last time the PM had generated. Because this is a brand new PM, we don't have any information within this field, but for my weekly condensing unit, we can see that it last generated in 2017. I think that is October 11th. And next scheduled date, this one is for the 16th of October. And here we have saved update. When I click save, this will give me a date of the next time my PM is going to generate, March 7, 2018. Now that save button is very important. Please always remember to click it when you are done entering your data. You might spend a good amount of time within Hippo and you don't want to lose anything that you've entered. So that's how you create a PM in Hippo. The question is, what do you do with it now? Let's exit this grid. So as mentioned earlier, You can find your PMs on all the different dashboards. The one dashboard that actually works the best in terms of managing and scheduling your PMs is the calendar dashboard. Here we are now, so we can take a look at the PM that we created. Remember that I made a PM for a one-time date of today, so I can open up that PM. So this PM has generated. No one has started it yet, but you can see that this type of job takes 60 minutes. It's due 30 days from today. I have a company that is assigned to it. As I scroll down, you can see the information that I added from the scheduled work orders grid. I can see my lockup procedures, job hazards. You can see that I've added the tasks to the PM. There's my resource. So this person has received an email that they're assigned to do the job. In terms of looking at my future schedule, the reason why the calendar dashboard is great is because you can jump ahead to future dates. And you'll notice that these PMs, they have not yet generated. These are just scheduled. Therefore, they do not have a color assigned to them. But I can open them up anytime, read the description, check the task if needed, maybe even print and give this out to my team. Here's my PM for my condensing unit. Maybe this day looks a little bit full. So what I can do here is drag it over to another day to balance out my schedule. So using the calendar dashboard can go a long way in terms of helping you manage and schedule your PM and be more proactive and reactive to getting the maintenance done for your pieces of equipment or anything that needs to be done in your facility. So as we just saw, entering a PM is quite simple, but for some of you, you may need to mass import a whole list of PMs into your Hippo database. So this leads us to our next topic, which is data integration. So for those of you who may need to mass import your PMs into Hippo, we have an additional service that can be purchased. So PMs is easy to do. It is easy to enter in from the front end, but there is a much faster process when doing bulk additions to your PM list. Where this might come in handy is if you are still new to Hippo and you have yet to import any PMs into your system, you can reach out to our data integration team and we can help you out with that. Or if you have yet to import your PMs from a previous CMMS program, we'd love to help you out with that as well too. If you have any bulk import PM needs, don't hesitate to contact our data integration team. You can use the support and feedback panel, click on feedback, and you can let us know that need help importing PM data into Hippo, or you can even send an email to support@hippocmms.com. Or if you have any general questions about the additional services or need to know how to do anything in Hippo, this is a great platform to reach out to our support team. All right, so that's it for our webinar for today. Thank you for all for attending. I just want to remind you that there's going to be a very quick survey that you can complete at the end of this webinar. There will be a couple questions as well. You can leave any additional questions and comments that you might have for our support team. Once we receive those, you'll get a response shortly. This webinar has been recorded, so we'll send a copy out at the end of the webinar. And if you have any technical or service needs, please contact us here at support@hippocmms.com. Thank you and have a great day.